Escalated warnings come after the rescue of a missing U.S. airman from the mountains in Iran. The high-stakes operation began Friday after Tehran shot down a U.S. fighter jet. Former CENTCOM commander and CBS News contributor General Frank McKenzie called it an effective mission.
We train for this endlessly. It's a part of every time we send air crew over enemy territory. We have detailed, elaborate plans to go get them. It's a very basic part of who we are as American fighting men and women. I think it was executed pretty effectively.
And we've got team coverage on all of this for you this morning. Elizabeth Palmer is in Tel Aviv with Iran's response to President Trump's threats. But let's begin with CBS News Chief White House correspondent Nancy Cordes. Nancy, good morning to you. What's the latest from where you are?
The latest, Errol, is that the president has set a new deadline of 8:00 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow night for Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz and allow oil tankers to pass through once again. If that doesn't happen, he warned this weekend that, quote, hell will rain down, one in a series of threats he made on Saturday and Sunday.
As his deadline ticks closer, President Trump raised the stakes Sunday, warning Iran, if no deal happens, we're blowing up the whole country. To emphasize his point, the president posted video of this nighttime strike on Tehran and threatened to take down every power plant and bridge in the country. Trump also posted this profane Easter morning ultimatum, quote, open the expletive strait, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell. Iran's parliament speaker called the threats reckless, adding, you won't gain anything through war crimes. But the former head of U.S. Central Command told Face the Nation the Iranians should take Trump seriously.
The Iranians would be very well served to listen to President Trump when he says he's going to hit them, because he's proven that he's willing to do that.
The president insisted his top negotiators, Stephen Witkoff and Jared Kushner, are having productive talks with Iran and claimed there's a good chance they can make a deal. According to multiple reports, both sides have received a proposal from regional countries that would implement a 45-day ceasefire and immediately reopen the Strait of Hormuz. But it's still unclear if the U.S. and Iran would agree to it. And some lawmakers argue Iran is unlikely to relinquish its stranglehold on the Strait of Hormuz as rising gas prices give the Iranians leverage.
Iran recognizes that, in fact, their control over the strait is even more strategically vital to them than the development of a nuclear weapon.
President Trump is now warning, and this is an exact quote, that power plant day and bridge day will take place tomorrow if the strait is still closed. Comments like that have alarmed some international law experts who say intentionally targeting infrastructure, civilian infrastructure, like power plants and bridges, would constitute a war crime. Errol.
A crucial detail there. Nancy, thank you. CBS News senior foreign correspondent Elizabeth Palmer joins us now from Tel Aviv with Iran's response to President Trump. Liz, good morning. Always great to see you. So what are we seeing coming out of Iran this morning? What's the message from there?
Well, let's start with that report of a ceasefire proposal. Iran certainly hasn't confirmed that there's one under consideration. At a press conference, the foreign ministry, though, didn't deny it either. The foreign ministry spokesman poured cold water on the idea, saying a ceasefire creates a pause to strengthen forces for what he called new crimes, and that no sane person would do this. What's really going on? We just don't know. The deputy foreign minister also specifically said that President Trump's threat to strike bridges and power plants, as Nancy said, would constitute a war crime under the Geneva Convention. Over the weekend, Israeli and U.S. missiles hit dozens of targets inside Iran. They included port facilities, petrochemical installations, manufacturing sites, and the Iranians say at least 7 civilians were killed in those strikes. There was one really significant one, a crippling attack on a very famous technical university, Sharif University in Tehran. It's really Iran's MIT, a great pride of Iranian scientists. And this missile appears to have targeted specifically the data center on campus, which is where the country's AI technology was not only founded, but was being developed. It's now being blown up. This morning, Iran's Central Military Command is, if anything, talking escalation, saying if the U.S. and Israel continue to strike civilian targets, the next stage would be much more devastating retaliation. I have to say, we're now entering 6 weeks of this war, and despite having been hit nonstop from the air, Iran is still able to fire missiles on targets all over the region, including, according to the Iranians, gas, oil, and petrochemical installations belonging to Americans in the Gulf and a container ship in the United Arab Emirates.
And Liz, I understand where you are in Tel Aviv, Israel also taking incoming strikes. Update us on that.
Well, Iran is regularly firing missiles toward Israel. Most of them do get shot down by interceptors, but some are getting through. Last night here on the coast, the air raid sirens went off twice, and 20 impact sites were reported across the center of the country. The Israelis are saying 5 people were wounded, including one here in Tel Aviv. And on the weekend, a missile hit an apartment building in Haifa, also on the coast, and 4 people were killed in that. The Israelis haven't specifically confirmed that they would join the U.S. if it went ahead, as President Trump has threatened, and attacked bridges and power stations. But it's very likely that they would, because they've followed the U.S. lead in everything to date.
All right, Elizabeth Palmer in Tel Aviv. Liz, thank you.